is reporting that classified documents relating to nuclear weapons were among the items the FBI agents were searching for while on the property. I want to bring in CNN legal analyst Norm Eisen. He was special counsel for the House Judiciary Committee in Trump's first impeachment trial. Also, CNN global affairs analyst Susan Glasser, and Dave Ehrenberg, the state attorney for Palm Beach County, Florida. Susan, I almost butchered your name, so I'm going to begin with you. Okay, on this very notion, I got to ask you, the Washington Post report is frankly breathtaking. And I have to ask you, what is your reaction to the reports that they were searching for not just classified documents, but those that may be related to nuclear weapons, not somewhere where it's secured under the, cover of the federal government, but Mar-a-Lago? What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I mean, look, Laura, this is a very, very serious allegation. This is the kind of thing that government does not screw around about. And obviously, the idea of nuclear secrets being held in an insecure way at Mar-a-Lago is just extraordinary, and certainly, really changes the conversation in a significant way. We've heard 3 days of gaslighting from the former president and his supporters, right, about this, as if it was, merely a matter of, some doodles on cocktail napkins. Well, obviously, classified nuclear information is a whole different ballgame. And it reminds me of the story of the 4 years of Trump and the president of the United States himself being in some ways a national security threat. This is sort of another illustration of that.
Well, Susan, you mentioned the idea of nuclear secrets. That was the phrase you used. And so I just want to be clear for the audience. What kind of documents, they be referring to? I mean, what would a former president have in terms of the possession of what they would have seen? Could there be documents? Is there any such thing as sort of a benign related nuclear document?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, even things that you and I might consider to be benign, Laura,
right,
could also hold within it the secret, some information that in the wrong hands would end up revealing something about U.S. Sources and methods, for example. There was one detail that really caught my eye in the Washington Post report, which was a single source they attributed to the fact that some signals intelligence was also possibly collected as part of the FBI search at Mar-a-Lago. That is the most top secret, kind of espionage that the U.S. has, eavesdropping potentially on foreign leaders. Again, extraordinary allegations.
It is extraordinary if that's in fact what happened. Norm, I mean, if this is what we're talking about, if this is the type of documents they were trying to retrieve and that they were somehow trying to and had to be in a position to try to negotiate with to get back, I mean, could this explain why authorities seem so secure in not only getting a search warrant for a former president, but knowing the political risk was enormous? I mean, this is really one of those cost-benefit analysis. Obviously, if it's nuclear information, that's going to outweigh a political calculus.
Oh, that's right, Laura. And we heard from Attorney General Merrick Garland today that the government doesn't execute these search warrants lightly, and only when every step has been taken. So we know that there were conversations. We know there was an earlier subpoena issued. We know there are reports that a witness, an informant of some kind, gave information that materials were still there. So we know there were conversations. So it seems like the government was left with no choice. And, as a former ambassador, I enjoyed a high degree of access to these documents, a security clearance. You get trained, and these kinds of informations about weapons systems, nuclear weapons, signals intelligence, SIGINT, that is the most sensitive stuff we have. And if the former president didn't turn it back over after being asked and subpoenaed, that is as serious as it gets.
I mean, Dave, on that point, the idea that you'd have to sort of cajole someone or have several meetings to say, here's what I want back. to me, and I think to many people, just strikes you very odd that you would have to have the bargaining power, by the way, to be able to have to keep asking and have the DOJ request the information. That just strikes me in and of itself as, why do you still have what's been asked to be given back? But if this is all true, Dave, if this is all true, does this also explain something about maybe the potential of an informant being compelled to tell investigators about what still is in the possession of the president? Does this sort of go hand in hand now?